రవి గారు ఫస్ట్ టైం నేను మీ గురించి అన్నది బికాజ్ పవన్ వాజ్ టాకింగ్ సో హై అబౌట్ యూ అండ్ హిమ్ బీయింగ్ ఏ బిగ్ స్టార్. నాకు తెలియని వ్యక్తి గురించి అంత గొప్పగా మాట్లాడుతున్నాడు అంటే ఆబ్వియస్లీ లైక్ ఎవ్రీబడి ఎల్స్ నా అటెన్షన్ కూడా మీతో వచ్చింది ఆ టైంలో. అండ్ ఆఫ్ కోర్స్ లేటర్ ద బుక్ wrote and I understand that you wrote the bulk of it or the whole of it. అంటే పవన్ కళ్యాణ్ ఆబ్వియస్లీ ఐ డోంట్ నో హిమ్ యాజ్ వెల్ యాజ్ యూ. నేను హార్డ్లీ 4-5 times కలిసాను, బట్ నాట్ మచ్ ఆఫ్ ఇన్ ఇంటరాక్షన్. ఇన్ఫ్యాక్ట్ ఐ వాంట్ షేర్ మై ఫస్ట్ మీటింగ్ విత్ హిమ్. నేను చిరంజీవి గారితో ఉంటే ఆయన ఇంట్లో, చిరంజీవి గారి ఇంట్లో చెన్నై. ఐ వాజ్ అక్కడే ఒక సినిమా చేసే, అదే ఫర్ వేరియస్ రీజన్స్ ఇట్ డెంట్ వర్క్అవుట్ ద ఫిల్మ్. నేను చిరంజీవి గారితో కూర్చుంటే ఒక అబ్బాయి వచ్చాడు, ఈయన పిలిచారు. ఈ సడన్లీ స్టార్టెడ్ స్కోల్డింగ్. ఏంట్రా అసలు నీకు ఏమైనా ఇది ఉండదా, అసలు కంట్రోల్ ఉండదా ఇది అని. సో ఐ వాజ్ ఇన్ క్యూరియస్, ఏదో ఆయన ఇంట్లో ఎవరో ఉన్నారు ఏదో అవుతుందని అనుకున్నా. దెన్ ఇట్ టోల్డ్ మీ దట్ హీస్ మై బ్రదర్, హిస్ నేమ్ ఇస్ పవన్ కళ్యాణ్. దట్ వాజ్ మై ఫస్ట్ గ్లిమ్స్. ఆబ్వియస్లీ నాకు ఇంట్రడ్యూస్ కూర్చో, ఎందుకంటే ఆయన ఏదో టెన్షన్తో తిడుతున్నారు. తర్వాత ఏం చెప్పారంటే, ఒక షూటింగ్ దగ్గర ఎవరో సంబడి మేడ్ ఎ కామెంట్ ఆన్ చిరంజీవి గారు ఏదో మేబీ హీరోయిన్ మీద, ఐఎమ్ నాట్ వెరీ షూర్ అబౌట్ దట్. ఈ కోపంలో కొట్టడానికి వెళ్ళిపోతే పట్టుకుని సంథింగ్ లైక్ దట్ షీ వాజ్ రిప్రిమెండింగ్ హిమ్ ఫర్ దట్ యూనో. దాని తర్వాత ఐ సా హిమ్ వన్స్ వెన్ హీ వాజ్ జస్ట్ బిగినింగ్ టు, ఆ టైంలో నాకు అసలు చిరంజీవి గారు కొడుకు తమ్ముడు హీరో అవుతాడు అనేది కూడా లేదు నా మైండ్లో. అప్పుడు ఒకసారి కేమ్ టు మీట్ మీ ఆల్మోస్ట్ గులాబీ ఆ టైంలో 1994-95 somewhere around that, yeah. అప్పుడు there is some role in some small film I was producing, you know. అప్పుడు అది ఆఫర్ చేస్తే వెరీ పొలైట్లీ డిక్లైన్ అండ్ ఐ రియలీ లైక్ దట్, యూనో, ద ఫ్యాక్ట్ దట్ హీ హాజ్ వెరీ స్ట్రాంగ్ ఐడియా అబౌట్. అంటే ఆ టైంలో పవన్ కళ్యాణ్ లాంచ్ చేయడం కూడా అంత పెద్ద ఇదిగా ఇప్పుడు హీరోలు కొడుకు లాంచ్ చేసే అంత టామ్లో ఎవరు అంత ఉండేది కాదు ఆ టైంలో. చిరంజీవి గారు తమ్ముడు వస్తున్నాడు అని మొత్తం ఇట్ వాజంట్ దేర్ అట్లీస్ట్ ఆ ట్రయల్ టైంలో. సినిమా అయిపోయిన తర్వాత సినిమా రిలీజ్ అయ్యడానికి వచ్చినప్పుడు ఆటోమేటిక్గా అది మారుతుంది. ఓకే, దీస్ వర్ మై వెరీ ఇనిషియల్ ఇంట్రాక్షన్స్ టు హిమ్, యూనో. అండ్ లేటర్ ఐ మెట్ హిమ్ కపుల్ ఆఫ్ టైమ్స్ ఇన్ బాంబే ఇన్ ఫ్యాక్టరీ అండ్ దిస్. సో నాకు ఏది కూడా నాకు స్పెషల్గా అనిపించలేదు. నేను మాట్లాడిన ఇంట్రాక్షన్ ఈజ్ వెరీ క్వైట్ పర్సన్, డజంట్ టాక్ మచ్, అట్లీస్ట్ నాతో. సో వెన్ లేటర్ ఆన్ ఆఫ్టర్ ఇట్ బికేమ్ ఎ స్టార్, ఫస్ట్ టైం ఏదో ఫంక్షన్లో మాట్లాడటం చూసో ఇలాంటి దాంట్లో పొలిటికల్ ఆస్పెక్ట్లో ఫస్ట్ టైం ఆఫ్ కోర్స్ వెన్ చిరంజీవి గారు ప్రజారాజ్యం పెట్టినప్పుడు దట్ వాజ్ ఆల్మోస్ట్ ద ఫస్ట్ టైం ఐ స్టార్టెడ్ నోటీసింగ్ హిమ్ యాజ్ అ పర్సన్. ఇది ఒక బ్రీఫ్ బ్యాక్గ్రౌండ్, యూనో. దాని తర్వాత పవన్ కళ్యాణ్ గురించి ద ఓన్లీ థింగ్ ఐ నో ఈజ్ అబౌట్ వాట్ ఐ సీ ఆఫ్ హిమ్, హౌ హీ టాక్స్. సెకండ్ ఇస్ పీపుల్ అరౌండ్ హిమ్, క్లోజ్గా ఇంటరాక్ట్ చేసేవాళ్ళ నుంచి ఎన్న దాంట్లో నాకు ఒక ఐడియా ఉంది పవన్ కళ్యాణ్ మీద. బట్ ఐ వుడ్ సే హియర్ సే కపుల్డ్ విత్ మై ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్ విత్ స్టార్స్. ఓకే, నేను మిమ్మల్ని అడిగే క్వశ్చన్ ఏంటంటే, ఓకే, ఈ కమ్స్ ఫ్రమ్ ఎ బిగ్ ఫ్యామిలీ, ఓకే, స్టార్, ఒక పెద్ద సూపర్ స్టార్ తమ్ముడు. మీలో ఏది చూసి ఏదిని అట్రాక్ట్ అయ్యాడు మిమ్మల్ని మీలో? నేను చెప్పేది ఎందుకంటే నా పాయింట్, ఇప్పుడు పవన్ కళ్యాణ్ మై క్లెయిమ్ ఐఎమ్ ఎ వెరీ వెల్ రెడ్ పర్సన్, నేను 2 లక్షల పుస్తకాలు చదివిన, ఎవ్రీబడి నోస్ ఇట్స్ ఆల్ నాన్ సెన్స్, యూనో. సో కానీ అప్పుడు మీరు ఒకళ్ళ గురించి ఇంప్రెషన్ రావటానికి తను చెప్పిన మాట కానీ తను అన్న విషయం కానీ ఏదో ఒక పర్టిక్యులర్ ఒక బెంచ్ మార్క్, సడన్ యూ గెట్ వెరీ ఇంప్రెస్డ్. అంటే ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్, నేను నా కాలేజ్లో నా జూనియర్ ఒకడు సత్యేంద్ర అని ఉండేవాడు. ఐ నెవర్ హర్డ్ ఎనీబడి టాక్ లైక్ హిమ్, ఐ మీన్ అనలైజ్ ఆర్ ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ ఆర్ వాట్ ఎవర్ యూ కాల్. అలాగా కెన్ యూ షేర్ అన్ ఇన్సిడెంట్ ఆర్ ఎ సర్టన్ థింగ్ యూ సెట్ విచ్ రియలీ ఇంప్రెస్డ్ అండ్ వేర్ తనకున్న స్టార్డమ్లో 100 మందిని కలుస్తూ ఉన్నప్పుడు ఒక రాజు రవితేజ అనే ఒక పర్సన్కి ఎందుకు అసలు ఇంప్రెస్ అయ్యాడు?
I think the first meeting we had, it was at a shooting location.
ఎందుకు మీరు అక్కడికి ఎందుకు వెళ్ళారు మీరు?
He wanted to meet me.
No, but how did you came to know about you? That's my question.
I gave a lecture on how to create an organization, and అట్లాంటి ఒక లెక్చర్
ఎక్కడ ఇచ్చారు అది?
జూబ్లీ హిల్స్లో ఇక్కడ.
బట్ దట్ ఈస్ ఫర్ టెలివైజ్డ్?
No. It was just for a group of ladies actually.
ఓకే.
ఇట్ వాజ్ ఎ విమెన్స్ ఆర్గనైజేషన్ స్టార్ట్ చేస్తారని అంటే నన్ను పిలిచారు అనమాట. ఆ రోజు ఆ ఆడియన్స్లో దేర్ వాజ్ సంబడి who told me that you should meet Pawan Kalyan after talking.
ఓకే.
దానికి ముందు
అంటే మీరు ఇచ్చిన స్పీచ్లో అలాంటి కంటెంట్ ఏదైనా ఉందా? పవన్ కళ్యాణ్కి కాంటెక్స్ట్లో ఇంట్రెస్ట్ ఉన్నది?
నేను ఇచ్చిన స్పీచ్ ఏంటంటే హౌ టు క్రియేట్ ఎ కాజ్ అండ్ రన్ ఇట్ సక్సెస్ఫుల్ వితౌట్ మనీ. దట్ వాజ్ వాట్ ద టాపిక్ వాజ్.
ఓకే.
ఒక సోషల్ ఐడియా చుట్టూ ఒక ఆర్గనైజేషన్ ఎట్లా క్రియేట్ చేయడం, పీపుల్ని ఎట్లా మోటివేట్ చేయడం, అది. సో లేడీ ఏమనిందంటే దట్ యూ షుడ్ మీట్ పవన్ కళ్యాణ్ అనింది. అండ్ దే టుక్ మై నంబర్. And but that was in 2007.
Okay.
Early 2007, February, I think, sometime around that time.
Okay.
So he called me in September because they had my number, and somebody called me.
How do they know Pawan Kalyan?
I think she was related to him in some way.
Okay.
She was a relative, and that person, somebody Sippy, by name Sippy, like the Ramesh Sippy of Sholay.
Okay.
He called saying that my name is so-and-so, Pawan Kalyan wants to meet you. And I was leaving to South Africa the next morning, or that night actually.
Okay.
And because I work at nights, I was sleeping during the day. He said, you have to come. I said, I'm leaving. No, you have to come. So about 4, 5, 6 times he called repeatedly saying, we'll send you a car. And where should I meet? And they gave Chevella.
Okay.
That's where he's shooting. So I said, okay, but I'll come on my own and cheppi. I left and I went.
See, you are not a person with a lot of name or something. అలాంటప్పుడు why అంటే on the basis of someone saying also ఏ రీజన్ ఉంటుంది అంత?
He probably read my website. I used to have a website at that time.
Pawan Kalyan reading a website,
Possible.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Okay,
I've never asked him.
But this is
I didn't ask
he
him.
wanted to meet you
He wanted
related to, because the beginning of the party is coming. Is that the reason?
That was when Prajarajam was in the offing.
Okay.
Of course, the name was not known, but his brother
fine.
was.
So fine, you met him.
I met him there, and I carry always a book. Today I'm not carrying it, Moleskine, in which I do drawings. So when he saw the book, he recognized it.
Yeah.
So he said, it's a Moleskine. I said, how do you know it's a Moleskine? I have many Moleskines. So that was a kind of meeting point. That was in the first 10 minutes of our meeting.
Okay.
And then he asked me to show what is it. And I showed him a picture, I remember very vividly, of Chettu and roots.
No, that's coming.
So he was very impressed with that, saying that nenu kuda itlage
main
chestam.
question, see, when he said, almost like a, for want of a better word, a philosopher, like in a like Aristotle laga lapote, that is a kind of a build-up he gave to all of us, you know.
Okay.
Adi ela ochindana, what is that? This is a painting or an artwork or something.
That's when it started. That's how, that was the first.
Yeah, meeting. Correct. Start point pakkan pedesi. His impression of you almost like a friend, philosopher, guide. That when that he said, what was that point which triggered him?
I think I'm just jogging my memory.
That should be the most valuable memory according to me.
Yes, I remember. Because one day we were having breakfast. We used to meet at about 2:30 in the morning, and then go on till about 12 noon.
Okay.
And then split. So atla enno rojulu.
No, but I didn't. Naku an important thing is not about the timing.
You know, at that time,
what is the content which you spoke which attracted him? And if he's a well-read person, so he would obviously know either you are telling him some me ante tanaki telindi meer edana extend chesi cheppara lapothe were you near his thing. So unless there is something, for example, I had a friend Satyendra. He always used to tell me something which I never thought of.
Okay.
నేను ఎప్పుడు అసలు అలాంటిది ఏం లేదు నా లైఫ్లో ఎప్పుడు అలా కూడా ఆలోచించని ఆటోమేటిక్లీ ఐ గాట్ అట్రాక్టెడ్. సో వాట్ ఈస్ దట్ అబౌట్ యూ విచ్ అట్రాక్టెడ్ హిమ్? అది నా క్వశ్చన్.
I think it's ప్రాబబ్లీ ఎబిలిటీ టు
అంటే
డైలాగ్.
తనకన్నా మీరు ఎక్కువ తెలివైన అనుకున్నాడా?
ఎప్పుడు అట్లాంటి ప్రసక్తి రాలేదు.
అసలు రాలేదండి. సో యు ఆర్ వెల్ రెడ్ పర్సన్, ఐఎమ్ సేయింగ్. అండ్ వాట్ ఈస్ రాంగ్ విత్ దట్? సీ ద వెరీ ఫ్యాక్ట్ మీ గురించి అంత మాట్లాడి మీతో బుక్ రాయించి తను కో రైటర్గా పేరు వేసుకుని చేశాడంటే యూ వుడ్ హావ్ బీన్ వెరీ ఇంప్రెస్డ్. అండ్ వాట్ ఈస్ రాంగ్ విత్ దట్?
ఐఎమ్ షూర్ యు వాస్.
సో యు ఆర్ నాట్ ఎ గర్ల్ for him to be impressed otherwise.
We don't have any such things.
Yeah, so obviously it has to be either your knowledge
Of course.
or your intellect. What else can be there?
Yeah, intellect, and also
You are not funding him. That also can't be the cause.
he was funding me.
So that's what I'm saying. So what is left is this, yeah.
He told me once that there was not a. He used to ask me many questions. Yeah. So he told me once that there was not a single question to which I could not answer it.
Yeah, but that's the point. Yeah.
That's what he told me
So
once.
that is one. And secondly, see, I am also not impressed in that because I don't remember the name of the person. He recently, 1-2 years back, ఎప్పుడో ఎవరినో కలిసి తను మహా తెలివైనోడు అని చెప్పేసి తను వెళ్ళి ఆడియన్స్లోకి నుంచుని చేతులు కట్టుకుని అతను పెట్టి అక్కడ నించోబెట్టి దాని తర్వాత అతను ఫ్రాడ్ అనేది తెలిసింది. అతను ఐ డోంట్ నో వాట్ ఎగ్జాక్ట్లీ హిస్ నేమ్ వాజ్, అండ్ ఆఫ్టర్ దట్ he disappeared. I forgot the gentleman's name, you know. So the point, okay, fine, fair enough. Till now I'm clear. And so for want of a better word, maybe because if you are talking to people, a group of people like you said in the beginning, you felt Pawan Kalyan as one of the students. I am not saying as just one of the students unclear. The fact that like a lot of gurus, for example, when they have celebrities who kind of listen to them and give them importance, obviously that will rub off on the guru also and they become more famous. Like Rajneesh, for example, like or many people have, not Rajneesh. No. So you would have enjoyed that thing of Pawan Kalyan adulating you or whatever it is, right? So ఇప్పుడు ఈ బిగినింగ్స్ ఆఫ్ ఇజం బుక్ రాసి ఒక న్యూ వే ఆఫ్ లుకింగ్ ఎట్ ఆర్గనైజింగ్ ఏ సొసైటీ ఆర్ సంథింగ్, ఆ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ లాఫ్టీ ఐడియల్ అనేది మీరు కలిసిన ఎన్ని సంవత్సరాలు వచ్చింది అది?
Few months లో in February 2008 we first thought about it.
Okay. And dates are not important.
Yeah, about that time.
My point is, in a few months you came to that.
Few months, and he was very keen on it. It was his idea.
Yeah, okay.
But title gaani, content gaani appudu ledu. Just said we need a book.
ఇప్పుడు నా ఒక క్వశ్చన్ ఏంటంటే, till today I'm saying in 2023 also he still keeps talking about Che Guevara.
Yeah.
What do you think of Che Guevara?
I don't like him.
Yeah, that for me is a shock. ఎందుకంటే ఫస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ఆల్ పవన్ కళ్యాణ్కి చే గవరాకి గణపతికి డిఫరెన్స్ కూడా తెలియదు. గణపతి PWG command is doing the same thing and he's more successful because he's evaded arrest for nearly 30 years. Yeah, and I think he killed not less than around 10,000 people in this whole thing. I mean, who is fighting against the rebels? I'm talking police gaani, illu gaani, all gaani.
Okay.
And he's fighting for the same cause what Pawan Kalyan talks, right? Che Guevara is nothing compared to Ganpati. But he never mentions Ganpati in his country. ఎందుకు Che Guevara t-shirt మీద ఉన్నాడు, గణపతి లేడు. Che Guevara ఏదో ఎక్కడో వేరే దేశంలో when the communist countries were just coming up, రష్యా కానీ చైనా కానీ, ఆ టైంలో he became a poster boy. Poster boy will be on the t-shirt or a cap.
Yeah.
You know, అక్కడ ఫిక్స్ అయిపోయాడు. సో అండ్ నౌ ఆల్సో ఇఫ్ ఈస్ టాకింగ్ ద సేమ్, ఐ థింక్ హిస్ ఫండమెంటల్ అండర్స్టాండింగ్ ఆఫ్ సొసైటీ హెస్ నాట్ చేంజ్ ఫ్రమ్ ద టైమ్ ఈజ్ ఇంటర్మీడియట్ టు నౌ. సో ఈ మధ్యలో మీరేమి ఇన్ఫ్లుయెన్స్ చేసి ఉంటారు అనేది నా క్వశ్చన్. అది
I don't know if I
in other words I would say lot of people, I see this, nodding the head is not listening. మీరు చెప్పినప్పుడు తలూపుతా ఉంటే అదే ఒక చాలా అంటే దిస్ ఇస్ ఆల్మోస్ట్ వర్క్స్ లైక్ దీస్ పీపుల్ వెన్ దే టాక్, వీళ్ళందరూ తలూపుతూ ఉంటారు కానీ దే ఆర్ నాట్ రియలీ టేకింగ్ ఇన్. ఇట్స్ ఐ ఫైండ్ దిస్ యాజ్ ఒక మీటర్లో ఒక గజల్ ఉండదు, కఠిన్ జరా హే గుజర్ తోడి దూరు సాత్ అని అంటారు. దానికి అర్థం తెలియదు వాళ్ళకి, బట్ ద మీటర్ మేక్స్ దెమ్ ఫీల్ దే షుడ్ క్లాప్ and give a certain thing.
Yeah.
Whatever I read of ism, you know, I mean, I would make a confession, I haven't read the whole book, not because I didn't want to, because actually నా ఇంట్రెస్ట్ ఏంటంటే దాంట్లో అప్పుడు పవన్ కళ్యాణ్ ఏం చూసి అట్రాక్ట్ అయి ఉంటాడు దీంట్లో అనేది నా ఫీలింగ్. After reading 5 pages, I was convinced that he didn't read any of those pages.
Oh, he did read the book.
Yeah, maybe. That I disagree, even though, anyway, I don't think that's the topic. Because the bandwidth of a person to understand something as complex as a social structure, when it is not set in a dramatic form, like what Ayn Rand does in Fountainhead, I feel very, very few people can actually.
Yeah, very few people can do it.
Extremely
so dry,
few people.
Yeah.
Like I remember a line when Encyclopedia Britannica said about Thus Spake Zarathustra, a book widely quoted, seldom read and never understood. you know. So likewise, okay. So then, in the journey after that, Prajarajam came and went. I am sure Pawan Kalyan did not like the way the very subtle and diplomatic approach of Chiranjeevi garu, the way he is pushing. అది మీకు చాలాసార్లు షేర్ చేస్తూ ఉంటారు కదా.
Yeah.
Because that's so much against his nature, the way Chiranjeevi garu talks, which I could see in the very first meeting I had with Pawan. You know, so what did you say when Chiranjeevi garu approach towards how he talks to the people, and Pawan Kalyan the correct kaadu, whatever his disagreements or that, what were you talking to Pawan at that time?
Both of us, we agreed on that. That's not
The right approach.
We both thought that it's going to end up the way it ended up.
Okay, that is no, it's going to lose.
It's going to lose in a very పెద్ద డిబాకల్ అవుతుంది అని మేము ఇద్దరం అదే view ఉంది.
But then did he ever talk to his brother?
No.
Okay. No, never.
He was not very important in that group. He was
in that group. Yeah, fine. Fair
the core group was different. He was not part.
Fair enough. Yeah, okay. So once, obviously, then there's not a surprise what the result was. But the fact, and ఒకవేళ already Prajaraju workout అవ్వదు అని ఫీల్ అయినప్పుడు, already did he start sowing the seeds for Janasena?
In 2007 when we met, that was when he was already having the seed. First. And my meeting with him was part of that. For him.
Okay. Fair.
What transpired or what came about as Janasena, it was in his mind from around that time.
Yeah.
When I started meeting. So, Prajarajam fail అవుతుంది అని ఆయనకు తెలుసు. And he expressed it also.
Okay.
Not only to me, but a few close friends.
Yeah, I'm sure. ఇప్పుడు Janasena, if I ask you, because you traveled at the formation time,
Yeah.
in a gist of it, అప్పుడున్న existing system, existing way of dealing with a society or a government functioning, if 5 important points, where do you think Janasena is differing?
Oh, Janasena.
ఫార్మేషన్ చేసినప్పుడు అది అలా జరుగుతుంది, మనం ఇలా చేస్తాం, ఆ మనం ఇలా చేస్తాం అనే ఇంటెన్షన్ ఏదైతే ఉందో దాంట్లో వాట్ ఆర్ ద 5 points which are remarkably different from what was happening at that time?
At that time, when he told me that I want to launch the party, it was a big surprise, because he said he will take some time. But then Telangana Andhra division happened. He said the way it is done, it is not right, and this is a chance for us. Let's act now.
No, launching the party I'm not talking about. Meeko clarity on it. See, I'm saying you both were talking book rasaru anni. Party launch anedi timing untadi. There were various other physical factors have to come in place. But every party which comes, రైట్ ఫ్రమ్ తెలుగుదేశం అవ్వచ్చు, ఏ పార్టీ ఎప్పుడు వచ్చినా మార్కెట్గా అప్పుడున్న ఎగ్జిస్టింగ్ సిస్టమ్కి ఎంతో కొంత డిఫరెన్స్ తీసుకురావాలని ఆలోచిస్తారు. కొన్ని పాయింట్స్ ఉంటాయి. అలాంటి పాయింట్స్ ఫార్మేషన్ టైంలో వాట్ వర్ దే?
The number one was about money in politics and selection of candidates who will become MLAs. What kind of people should be grassroots నుంచి యాక్చువల్గా పీపుల్ వర్క్ చేసే వాళ్ళని తీసుకురావాలని. దట్ వాస్.
But this is not new. I mean, this is something which everybody talks.
It is something that is of course talked about, కానీ ఎవరు చెయ్యరు.
Okay.
He was very keen on that. He was keen on not having the regular people who will come into politics. అట్లాంటి వాళ్ళు కాకుండా He even had ideas of getting student leaders and teachers and such people into politics.
సో ఇప్పుడు థియరటికల్గా
That was one.
థియరటికల్గా ఇది వినటానికి బాగుంటుంది. See, people, when you want to study a person, even if you're close to a person, many times you won't know till many years pass by that what you thought of that person is nothing to do with what the person is. మన అందరికీ ఒక షాక్ లాగా వస్తుంది. అలాంటప్పుడు క్యాండిడేట్ సెలెక్షన్లో ఫస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ఆల్ పవన్ కళ్యాణ్ లాంటి స్టార్ ఉంటే నోబడి విల్ బిహేవ్ ద వే దే ఆర్. దిల్ ఆల్ పుట్ అప్ a completely different person, which is what all of us do, that depending on who you are talking to, you know. అలా వచ్చినప్పుడు ఆన్ వాట్ బేసిస్ ఇప్పుడు ఒక ఐడియల్ సిచ్యువేషన్లో మనం మంచి క్యాండిడేట్లు తీసుకోవాలి అని రూమ్లో కూర్చుని అనుకోవటానికి మంచి క్యాండిడేట్ని ఎలా పట్టాలి అనడానికి దెర్ ఇస్ అబ్సల్యూట్లీ నో కనెక్షన్. బికాస్ ఎవెన్చువల్లీ ఇట్ కమ్స్ బ్యాక్ టు ద రూట్స్. చాలా మంచి పర్సన్ ఈ మైట్ నాట్ బి పాపులర్ ఇన్ దట్ కాన్స్టిట్యున్సీ. చాలా మంచి పర్సన్ ఈ మైట్ నాట్ హ్యావ్ ద కెపాసిటీ. చాలా మంచి పర్సన్ ఈ మైట్ నాట్ బి ఎ గుడ్ ఒరేటర్ టు కమ్యూనికేట్ టు ద పీపుల్. సో ఇప్పుడు ఈ సీడింగ్ ఈ ఆర్గనైజేషన్ అంతా కూడా దీని వెనకాల పవన్కి ఇచ్చిన అడ్వైజర్ మీరా లేకపోతే వర్ దేర్ అదర్ పీపుల్?
I don't know, advice is not the right word, but I was part of it.
You were part of it.
Yeah. I was at the very actually it was only both of us, there were no others.
Okay.
In the beginning.
Okay.
Others were there కానీ they played a perfunctory role.
సో ఇప్పుడు మీరిద్దరూ కూర్చుని వేసిన ప్లాన్లో ఉన్న ఏది అమలు పరచుద్దాం అని మీరు అనుకున్నది ఫైనల్గా వన్స్ యూ గైస్ బ్రోక్ అప్ వాట్ హీ డిడ్ బై హిమ్సెల్ఫ్ ఆర్ విత్ అదర్స్, అది ఎంత డిఫరెన్స్ ఉంది?
Himself. అన్నీ సొంతగా he did it by himself.
Yeah.
Even when I was there,
అదే ఇద్దరు కలిసి ఇది చెయ్యాలి
అనుకున్నాము.
తను చేసిన దానికి ఏమి అసలు
the main launch meeting ఉంది కదా, దాంట్లో much of what he spoke and all that we discussed a lot for many days. And in that we worked together very well. After that was done, he's got the launch done and 3 hours or so it was very good and he's got good feedback. Then he immediately started to sideline me in about 4-5 days.
We'll come to that later.
So that was when he started doing everything on his own.
Yeah, నేను అదే అంటున్నాను. See, my question is, మీరిద్దరూ కలిసి 1-to-1 కూర్చుని డిసిషన్ తీసుకున్న ఇలా జరగాలి, this is how we can bring a difference to a political party or the way the state is run or blah blah whatever it is. దాని నుంచి తర్వాత once you broke up నేను తర్వాత వస్తాను. Once he started doing it by himself, between the intention and between the practical implementation, can you tell me 3-4 things which are so different from what we expected to happen and what actually happened?
He just cut me off from my personal point of view from any decision making, any discussion, which was so intense 10 days back, and he suddenly started operating on his own. That was a big difference. But the idea to campaign for TDP and not contest, all were decided much before. So he kept to those things. It's just that he wanted to not make me part of any of the political discussions he was having with other parties or other leaders. He didn't want me to be involved in it. So that's when I started.
దానికి రీజన్ ఏంటి మీ ప్రకారం?
I think he wants to, one is he wants to have total control. Probably he thought that if I was there, and he probably felt that if I was there, it would prevent him from feeling free to do anything he wants. He may have to explain to me, he may have to, or I may hold him responsible. Arey itla annavu kada, malli ippudu itla enduku chestunnam. So అవంన్నీ హెడేక్ లేకుండా నేను ఒక్కని చేసుకుంటే అయిపోతుంది కదా అన్నట్టు. Because he thought that I may object to some things.
See, in fact, I'm not surprised at all with that, because if you see when I'm not sure I'm getting the name right, Aristotle's disciple who stayed back with Alexander after he left.
No, I don't.
I forgot his name.
Diogenes?
No. When he tried to convince Alexander that his whole grand plan of invading, becoming the emperor of the world to start, and he tried to convince him that that's like a that's like delusional grandeur, you know, and you should understand you're not God. Alexander cut his head off. So I think you're lucky that you're born in a different time. I think what happens is when I am more famous, you know, see, స్టార్కి మనకి ఉన్న డిఫరెన్స్ ఏంటంటే మనం మన బాత్రూంలో మొహంలో చూసుకుని మనకు బాగానే ఉంటాం మనం, ఎందుకంటే ఆడియన్స్ హ్యావ్ వన్ విచ్ ఇస్ యూ, విచ్ ఇస్ ఇమేజ్ ఆఫ్ యూ ఇన్ ద మిర్రర్. ఒక స్టార్కి ఒక లక్షల మంది వచ్చి వాళ్ళు కూడా స్పెషల్గా చూసినప్పుడు దే విల్ స్టార్ట్ బిలీవింగ్ దట్ దేర్ సమ్ వన్ మోర్ దెన్ అ హ్యూమన్ బీయింగ్, అండ్ విచ్ ఇస్ హైలీ న్యాచురల్. అది ఎవరున్న పొజిషన్ అలాగే అవుతారు. అప్పుడు అంతమంది ఇన్స్టింక్టివ్ అన్నీ ఓకే అంటే ఈ రాజు రవితేజ కూడా అది కరెక్ట్ కాదు అంటే ఇరిటేషన్ వస్తుంది. I think that will be the start point of anything.
You said it quite right.
Yeah.
అంటే నిజం కాబట్టి we can talk about it. That's the truth.
Yeah, because it's irritating actually if someone when ఇంతమందిని చూసి అన్ని కొడితే ఇట్స్ లైక్ యు నో ఇన్ ఫిల్మ్స్ వీ హ్యావ్ దిస్ థింగ్. ఒక 20 మందికి సినిమా చూపించాం అనుకోండి, ఇంటర్నల్గా సినిమా రిలీజ్ అవ్వకుండా ఫ్యాంటాస్టిక్ అంటారు, ఒక్కడేమో బాలేదంటాడు. అప్పుడు యూ విల్ సడన్లీ hate that guy because he becomes like a symbol of something to demoralize me or kind of a అంటే ఆ 20 మంది అబద్ధం చెప్పొచ్చు, ఈ ఒక్కడే నిజం చెప్పొచ్చు. కానీ వాళ్ళకి ఎలా ఉంటుందంటే 99%కి నచ్చింది 0.1%కి నచ్చలేదు అనిపిస్తుంది ఇంటానికి.
ఇది I realized it. I realized it quickly.
Correct. It's impossible. You know. Yeah.
Then he was a person with whom I journeyed till 2014 party launch ayadaka. He was only interested in the truth in a very, very passionate way. Yeah. The moment the party was launched, he was no longer interested in the truth.
Yeah.
And if you told him the truth, he would get angry.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, for example, the famous, very cliched line says, "Power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely." Maybe the corrupt word is not right, but I think it is impossible for a person in limelight to ever really understand truth. It's not possible by the very nature of the position. You know? ఇప్పుడు రివర్స్లో ఏముంటుందంటే, ఇప్పుడు చిరంజీవి గారి ఎగ్జాంపుల్ చెప్తాను మీరు. ఆయన పర్టికులర్ టైంలో హీ టుక్ ఏ బ్రేక్ ఫర్ సమ్ ఇయర్స్ బిఫోర్ స్టార్టింగ్ షూటింగ్ అగైన్. ఐ డోంట్ రిమెంబర్ ద ఎగ్జాక్ట్ టైం పీరియడ్. ఒకరోజు చిరంజీవి గారు అన్నారు నాతో, ఈ ఆఫ్టర్ హీ కేమ్ బ్యాక్ అగైన్ స్టార్టెడ్ యాక్టింగ్, ఈ జెమినీ టీవీ వాళ్ళు ఏదో స్పాట్ ఇంటర్వ్యూ చేస్తున్నారు కాలేజ్ స్టూడెంట్స్ని వాళ్ళని. చిరంజీవి గారు అన్నారు, ఒక కాలేజ్ అమ్మాయిని అడిగారు, హూస్ ద బెస్ట్ డాన్సర్ in the film industry. అంటే దట్ యంగ్ గర్ల్, యు నో, షీ ఈస్ థింకింగ్ చిరంజీవి అని ప్రాంప్ట్ చేశాడు.
అచ్చా,
అది ఆడు యాంకర్. ఈజ్ బికమ్ ఓల్డ్ నో అంట. నాకు చిరంజీవి గారు అన్నారు, అసలు నాకు ఎంత ఎఫెక్ట్ అయిపోయానంటే నేను ఒక ఏపు నుంచి ఆయన సూపర్ స్టార్, ఆయన సినిమాల కలెక్షన్స్ లక్షలు. దిస్ ఈజ్ వన్ గర్ల్ హూజ్ ఎ నో బడీ, who doesn't have any face or name or anything, just a random voice in the 8 crore population of the state. Okay, kani that one person can affect as if he's showing a mirror. Idi Pawan Kalyan the exact opposite work out. I mean, okay, this girl is an ordinary person, you can quickly forget her, but meeto ఒక జర్నీ చేశాడు. ఎలాంటి జర్నీ అది? ఆబ్వియస్లీ రాజు రవితేజ ఎవరు నాకు ఎట్లా తెలుస్తుంది పవన్ కళ్యాణ్ చెప్పకపోతే? పవన్ కళ్యాణ్ లిటరల్లీ లిఫ్టెడ్ యూ ఆన్ టాప్ ఆఫ్ హిస్ హెడ్. ఇతను అది అని అలా మాట్లాడాడు. అండ్ దెన్ దట్ వెరీ పర్సన్ బికమ్స్ హ్యూజ్, ఐ డోంట్ నో, I'm not getting the exact analogy in terms of
a huge pain in the
neck. Yes. To be more diplomatic,
pain in the neck.
Yeah, correct. So you realize in tarvata this is going to go wrong. Some point of time, under oka gavukku voice raise chesi, I know what I am doing and elanti kind of lines annappudu you would have started realizing, because that is something which happens everywhere in the same way. It is not good.
And I left quietly. There was 2014 itself. I left quietly. So I thought that this will not work anymore. So you run it the way you want. I'll leave and check.
సో ఇప్పుడు లాంచ్ అయిన తర్వాత వైజాగ్లో హియర్ ఇన్ హైదరాబాద్ ఆఫ్టర్ దట్ హౌ మచ్ మోర్ లాంగర్ వర్ యూ దేర్ విత్ దెమ్?
About a month or 2 months.
నాట్ మోర్ దెన్ దట్.
Not more than that. ఎందుకంటే అది అయిన తర్వాత ఇక్కడ వైజాగ్లో బుక్ లాంచ్ చేసి అప్పుడు కూడా ఐ సా ద షేడ్స్ ఆఫ్ వాట్ ఎవర్ యు ఆర్ మెన్షనింగ్ అబౌట్ ఇట్ దెన్. అండ్ బుక్ లాంచ్ కూడా ఎస్, ఇఫ్ యూ హెడ్ టోల్డ్ మీ ఐ వాంట్ దిస్, ఐ డోంట్ వాంట్ యూ టు బీ ఇన్వాల్వ్ బికాస్ యు ఆర్ దిస్ అంతవరకు ఫర్ మెనీ ఇయర్స్ వీ వర్ సో క్లోజ్. హీ నెవర్ స్పోక్, he never beat around the bush with me. He would directly tell me what he was thinking. He could have told me that, no, I don't want you to be in this, you are idealistic, you are not fit for this, that's my opinion, you go your way, or you be quiet, nen chestanu ee team tho work. Naaku em cheppaledu. He just kept me in the dark, and he also told me untruths.
Yeah.
So he misled me.
Yeah.
By a book appudu kuda ante.
See, I would like to an analogy of this. It's like not out of knowledge, but I'm just speculating out of understanding how human beings, any human being in a given situation, how his mind works. For example, I will come back to what kind of books he reads. Kani meer chepparu, he's a very very well read person.
He reads.
Yeah,
yes.
correct. So adendante initial days lo, when you like a person, you start imagining things about it. It happens in marriage. When you fall in love with a girl, you are all the time, you want to say things about her which you will start believing. And then you reach a point where you realize you've been lying to yourself all the time and the truth comes out.
Not
so
always.
then you change. Not always, yeah. I saw this wonderful film called Roman Polanski's Bitter Moon.
I'm not
He's
seeing.
madly in love with her, it's passionately, and after a point of time, he hates her very existence without actually anything happening.
Yeah.
There's no problem at all. So I think when you exhaust a certain thing, మీరు ఒక పర్టిక్యులర్ టైంలో కలిసినప్పుడు ఉన్న టైంలో ఆ అటెన్షన్ స్పాన్లో కాన్సన్ట్రేట్ చేసి in comparison nothing else is happening much ఉన్నప్పుడు రిలేషన్షిప్కి, and so many things are happening around you where this person just becomes one of the things. అప్పుడు ఇంకోటి ఏంటంటే మీకు డైరెక్ట్ కంపారిజన్ వస్తుంది. అక్కడ వాళ్ళు చప్పట్లు కొట్టేసి హై చేసి అది చేసి అంత ఎక్సైట్మెంట్ వేస్తూ ఉంటే ఈ రవి ఒకడు నన్ను కిందకి లాగేస్తున్నాడు చూసి చెప్పి అనే దాంట్లో ఇట్స్ వెరీ డిఫికల్ట్ ఐ థింక్ ఫర్ ఎనీ వన్ టు టేక్. ఐఎమ్ నాట్ బ్లేమింగ్ పవన్ హియర్, ఎనీ వన్ ఇన్ దట్ పొజిషన్ ఇట్ విల్ హ్యాపెన్. సో ఇప్పుడు ఆ కాంటెక్స్ట్లో నేను ఏమంటున్నానంటే ఇప్పుడు వెల్ రెడ్ పర్సన్ అన్నారు మీరు. నౌ దెర్ ఆర్ 3 things ఐ విల్ టెల్ యూ. ఓకే, a long time back one very actress close to me, she was a girlfriend of another star. Okay, whales are the most intelligent
Whales,
animals.
okay.
I said I would like to believe there is a component of knowledge, is accumulation of facts. Okay, and then there is to analyze it and to get something or to understand a phenomena, because you have these facts with you, comes under intelligence. If you create something out of that, I would like to think it's a genius. To give a practical example, when there's water vapor and it condenses at lower degrees of temperatures around a glass, and to use that principle to invent the air conditioner or the refrigerator is genius. Okay, so on very simple terms, 2 + 3 = 5. You need to know the value of 2 and 3 and 5 also to deduce that. So these are some various simplistic ways of trying to not. Like when I believe I was very knowledgeable person because of the books I read. Now the question is not about the reading the books. How did it shape your mind, your life, the way you speak? If you read a book, the greatest lines I read of Ayn Rand is like you are living the life of all those characters who spent their lifetimes, and if you read it deeply enough, within a few hours you actually are living the life of so many people in different situations, And that kind of enhances the way you think, or your observation power, or your understanding power, which will get a part of you, become a part of your personality. So when I first read Communist Manifesto, I was really attracted towards that movement. Then when I read Wilhelm Hegel or Nietzsche or Schopenhauer, Spinoza, and then by the time I came to Ayn Rand, I realized that when a personal book influences you, that is just a point of that you know till that much. నాకు మీకన్నా ఎక్కువ తెలీదు అయినప్పుడు ఐఎమ్ లుకింగ్ అప్ టు యూ. బట్ ఇఫ్ ఐమ్ మీటింగ్ అనదర్ పర్సన్, again there's a comparison. Again. So that whole cycle happens. At a point of time, I discard everything and I retain what are the best of it, or whatever is convenient to me. Best, not as in judgment, but as what suits me, the way, if I'm clear about the kind of life I want to live. So I would like to believe these are the few people who kind of influenced me through their books. You know. Now I want you to tell me, what did Pawan Kalyan read? I would like to know what kind of books he read.
He read a range, a very big range. I don't think he read Hegel like you have read, but not the hardcore philosophy.
Like which book? Can you tell me one book?
He read a lot of Che Guevara and some poetry from that time.
See, Che Guevara, first of all,
he did read a lot of
technically write a book. That is not what it is. See, it is derivatives of the Communist Manifesto or Das Kapital or various other things on the same zone, and that is the easiest to read, because which is the reason why masses get attracted to communism, is because the philosophy is very simple. నీ దగ్గర ఉంది, ఆడి దగ్గర ఉంది, నీ దగ్గర లేదు. You don't need to read much. I'm sure you know this. Even Mao and Lenin in the last days said we never really read the book.
Yeah, they say it.
Because the quotes, I mean, Tupaki got down and say Viplavam vastadi. You don't have nothing to lose except change. You don't need to read 5 or 6, more than 5 or 6 quotes to understand the gist of communism.
But
nobody will read the economic theories of Das Kapital. That is something there is no way. You know? Okay, given. Let's say he read Communist Manifesto. Then what did he read?
He read a lot of biographies.
Of who?
Mandela, Nehru, Gandhi, biographies.
And what do you get from a biography?
I don't know. You must. I don't know if you are interested in knowing what he.
No, I'll ask you a question. If Mandela, Gandhi, I would think it would be there. I would have read Gandhi.
Yeah. He did read Gandhi a lot.
Yeah. So
Gandhi,
my question to you is,
Martin Luther King.
Okay. My question to you is, in all the time, right? Obviously, anta మీ time spend చేసి books రాసుకుని మీరు చదువుకుని అంత చేసినప్పుడు, why did Godse kill Gandhi? Did you ever discuss that with you?
No. Yeah. But because we agreed on that it is wrong to have done that.
No, but my question is,
I
didn't say good or bad.
No, we agreed. Ante Nenu Kalyan, we agreed that Godse was wrong.
No.
So therefore we didn't discuss that much.
In a moral aspect, that is not wrong or right is not the point. It is one of the great events, the murder of the man who created this nation, we call father of the nation. I think it's given that you would like to know the reason. See, when we are going after the murder of Vivekananda Reddy for 4 years, in our time, when there are 1,000 things happening parallelly, historical events like the death of Gandhi will be hardly not more than 10 in the entire history of India. And a person interested in books and biographies, I find it impossible. So,
he was interested.
I am not asking whether killing Gandhi was right or wrong. What was Godse's reason?
You want to know what is the reason, or you want to know what Pawan Kalyan thought?
I am asking 2 questions. One question is, did Pawan Kalyan ever discuss that with you? Okay, one. Second point is, what do you think? Why do you think Gandhi was killed by Godse?
Okay, that's the second question.
Yeah.
We did discuss Gandhi's assassination by Godse, and he didn't. He agreed with me that it was wrong. That was my view, but he also disagreed with me on another aspect, that Gandhi was wrong on many aspects too. So that was his view, and my view was that Gandhi was wrong.
What were the things Gandhi was wrong as per him?
I think he would be the right person to say this, but I will only give you a gist of it. what I understood from him is that Gandhi shouldn't have.
Ravi, I'm not trying to press. My whole point here is, see, eventually everyone talks opinions in today's world. That's on YouTube. Pawan Kalyan has opinions on 100 people. Thousands have opinion on Pawan Kalyan. We're just talking about an opinion.
Yes. That's what
So
I'm doing.
I'm interested. I'm really fascinated at this thing about what does he read and what does he understand about that.
Yeah, that's a comprehensive
I want to
answer.
press you on an answer. That's your prerogative. But my whole point is, you get to know a person only when you understand what he understood of something.
Yeah, not always, but yeah.
Or otherwise it becomes a belief system. I believe that Pawan Kalyan reads books is different from, I understand that he read the book because then I will only know what he understood.
No, I know that he reads. It's not just belief.
But that is what I'm saying. No, see, you are just saying it as a line. But does he hold a book? See,
Meaning? What do you mean hold a book?
No, that's what I'm saying. See, like, I used to hold my textbook in my school as if I was reading.
Oh, that way. No, he does read.
See, any person who reads a book, fundamentally, one of the principal things, one is for himself, and second is he can talk to the people about what he got from the book. This I never heard from Pawan Kalyan till today. And what is the reason for hiding that?
I don't know. Actually speaking, I don't know.
I find this very, very untrue about it.
Yeah.
Honestly. Because see, my point...
I think we should stay on the question of what he thought of Gandhi, which will be valuable. Because he said that Gandhi was wrong in giving such a high standard or setting such a high standard, whether it's ahimsa or whether it is fasting or penance of personal.
What does it mean, setting a high standard?
These were very high standards, he said.
And why is that wrong?
He believed that by doing that, he kind of misled an entire generation. That was his view.
But how?
Because then you'll start to believe that maybe that is always the right way to do it. What he said was, that is not always the right way to do it. Ahimsa is not always right. Whereas Gandhi very stubbornly stuck to that. And because of that, a lot of people who believed in him became cowardly because they didn't know how to actually be this non-violent. And that destroyed a generation. This is a kind of summary of what
only in the context of what you talked about just now, okay? On one hand, the entire world sprays that is probably the first time ever in world history that without too much of bloodshed, a country has got its independence because of the methods Gandhi. Whereas the whole world was always rebelling, creating violence and thousands and millions of people dying.
That was a time of a lot of violence.
So that was the reason Gandhi became popular in the first place.
In fact, this was also my argument with him, but now let me not say what, or let people not misunderstand. He doesn't dislike Gandhi. He has great regard for him.
No, first of all, see, this is like...
because I am speaking about him.
This is the third person talking.
Yeah.
Pawan Kalyan is not saying it.
So...
nobody is going to take neither me nor you seriously in the context. Just because Ravi said that or somebody said that, You see, I am just really wanting to know this, So the point is, you read the biography of Gandhi, okay? Whether it's a book about him, Dominic Lapier's book, Freedom at Midnight, or you read his own autobiography, Experiments with Truth. The context of what you learn from it is that to stir the human spirit somewhere to make the guilt in oneself become a weapon against him, which is what he played with the British to an extent, And the context of that kind of a treatment has never been done on such a huge scale. It might have happened in small pockets here and there. So after reading the entire biography and books on Gandhi, if you come to the conclusion violence is actually better than ahimsa.
No. That's why I said...
No, I'm not saying that.
But
But then, you see, you are telling me a context.
No, I think you are just...
No. You said two things.
I will tell you what I said.
You tell me.
That would require you to listen.
Okay.
Because if you don't,
tell me.
You will not know what I said. I'll make it in a rather simpler way. That sometimes ahimsa doesn't work. Okay. Now this will again be putting words in his mouth. That is what I gained from what his argument was. Sometimes it doesn't work. Gandhi's idea was that always it should work, except in dire situation where somebody is entering here, somebody killing somebody, and to prevent that you have done something. Or he also gave some examples of women being attacked and such things. But
what women being attacked?
If somebody is raping or killing a woman, at that time you take violent step to prevent that from happening, that can be justified. But otherwise, you have to folloh ahimsa. This is what he gathered, and then
I'm
disagreed.
finding it laughable in terms of the example you're giving me. But a woman being attacked is a present thing happening in terms of you don't have the time to protest and things like that. That is like an immediate physical action required.
Yeah.
But let me just come back to this.
Gandhi gave that.
That's like one of the most childish examples I
No,
heard
Gandhi
in the
gave that
context of
example.
Gandhi.
No, Gandhi gave that example.
What did he say?
That's what he said.
And you mean to think that Gandhi said if a woman is being attacked and raped, you shouldn't do anything to him?
No, at that time you can be violent.
That goes without saying.
Yes, he said, in such circumstances, I would advocate violence, he said.
What I'm asking, what Pawan Kalyan said about Gandhi?
Yeah, I think you're
know
not
exactly.
listening.
Let me retract and come point by point, and you stop me where you
I would like it if you listen after you ask a question.
No, I am asking you. I am not being argumentative. If you want to further continue, you can do it. But I want to come back and say point by point, and you can stop me at any point.
No, just ask me what you want to know.
I really want to know. See, the point is when a person, I'm again going back to the same question of what did he read and what did he understand from it.
Yeah.
Okay. In that you mentioned he reads biographies. Then we talked the topic of Gandhi. You said he believes that ahimsa always does not work.
Does not always.
Yeah, correct. And in that context of that, you gave me this example. If a woman is being raped or being attacked, you have to use violence. And again, you said that's also what Gandhi said. You were saying just now.
Yes.
In this whole thing, where did I ever twist anything? This is all what you said.
What is the question?
Now. My question is, using violence happened ever since maybe the creation of Homo sapiens. Like that's a jungle law. A strong man using violence against a weak man. Okay? In the context after all those decades and hundreds of years, Gandhi for the first time thought of something so new. It worked. Fine. Will it work all the time? No, it didn't work here also. There were a lot of violence happened in the partition time. A lot of people didn't listen to Gandhi. But the fact it worked to some extent shocked and surprised the world, which is the reason he became popular. Otherwise, why will we be talking about Gandhi?
What's the question?
If Gandhi was a conqueror, I wouldn't have been surprised. Because I've seen millions of conquerors all over the world, Then, today, if I see him talk, he takes thata, thista, champasta, peka piski champasta. That for me is what he learns from, after reading all that, going to such elementary basics of using violence as a feudalistic aspect to it. And I do not believe anyone can talk like that who's such a well-read man. So well-read man by definition is that he assimilated from what he read. And that is the reason I'm again asking you the question, what did he read?
I think you should ask him this question because you have a certain...
So in effect, what you're saying...
I would not like to say more than what I've said about what he read.
Okay, fine, fair enough.
Because the argument you have is against him. And
Not
I am
against
kind
him.
of via media.
Not at all. I was just trying to
and
ask
I agree
a
with
person
you
who knows him.
Yeah, I know him very well.
I'm not asking you to talk anything. You claimed that you believe that he read a lot of books.
I know.
My question is only based on that statement of yours.
So, in order to qualify my statement, you'll have to check with him what he has read.
But I'm asking your
that
view.
I can't be.
I'm only asking your view.
Yeah, I can't
saying
do more than a certain.
This is the truth.
Sorry?
Everyone, I have view on you. I hardly met you. I only met you now. Okay. Every one of us is entitled to have a viewpoint which doesn't.
You can hold your viewpoint.
Correct.
In fact, I agree with your viewpoint, what you just expressed about how he gave some speeches. If he's a well-read man, he wouldn't give speeches like that, which is quite right. So for you to come to that conclusion is quite normal. And I was myself shocked by some of his speeches. So You can say he went from one extreme to another extreme. So I agree with you on that.
See,
But I don't have an answer
I'm
as to
saying,
why he did that.
I'll ask you a simple question. A kind of an illiterate person can go literate. A literal cannot come back to literate. That can't happen. That's my whole point. Okay? Then where it is valid, then, again going back to his example, if he feels that someone is in imminent danger of being killed at that time, or like you said, raped, then the threat of violence or act of violence is justified, which is what even he said, or like you said, Gandhi said. That is not the context. He's uttering such threats in the political speeches.
No, that's not his context.
Yeah. Anyway, keeping that aside, now I'll ask you, from the time, like, you would have, it's not that you followed politics at that time. The fact that when you were formulating this whole Janasena thing and whatever, and then at a point of time you left because you can't see eye to eye or whatever the reasons are, then you start observing him from far. Now because you're not with him, you see him on TV, hear about him, maybe read about him or something. What is the difference you think what he was at a time and what he seems to be now? I'm not saying what he is. Like a regular person watching, if you, like, you would have formed an opinion for sure at that time. What do you think of him now in comparison to what you thought he was and what he seems to be now?
I think he's the same person. It's just that I could not see at that time.
Okay.
I could not see when I was journeying with
So
him.
in other words, you're saying he was pretending to be someone who is not at that time.
I think that side of him didn't come out. That could be one reason, and also probably was pretending. It could be both. And what I see now is I can connect to some of the traits I saw in him that I could see. And moreover, some things about him are more pronounced now than before, like how he deals with his colleagues. He didn't have many colleagues when he was working in films alone. He would just work there is a certain way in which his film production was going on. But in the political field, he had to have many colleagues. He had to talk with many people. That he has not changed. And sometimes I could see it, then I disliked it. I shared with him about it. So
I'll ask you a question. Do you think he likes to be at the top, or do you think he likes to support from the bottom?
in what way?
When he wants to come and serve the people.
He is a person always who wants to be on top.
Yeah.
Even if he is serving you,
Yeah.
he would like to do that by being your master or leader. He is not a servile person with servitude, no.
Yeah.
His personality is
to
such.
To be fair, I wouldn't like to believe no politician ever will want to do that. I mean, the whole idea is your ambition, you come into politics because of an ambition. You know, if you want to be an actor, you want to be a star. Nobody wants to be a junior artist. So that's a part of human nature, to be fair. Yeah.
So he's a person who likes to have control and likes to dominate.
Yeah. And okay. Now, in the context of, like, for example, me, I don't even really see what's happening with the government and how it is ruling and all that, you know. I'm too busy looking after myself. But if I have to say that in the context, if he becomes a chief minister,
Kalyan.
yeah,
Pawan Kalyan.
if he becomes a chief minister, what do you think? Becomes a chief minister. What do you think? Would probably will ask advice from the IS officers or bureaucrats or maybe some people to understand a prevailing problem and look at it from all the sides and see what is the best way to do it, because no human being can never really have a comprehensive understanding of everything, because the data will be too much.
True.
You know, you have to depend on people who you are qualified, who knows what they're talking about.
I don't think he'll have a problem in if he becomes the chief minister. He won't have a problem in depending on the bureaucracy and such things. He will have a problem with his own MLAs or his own political colleagues.
But bureaucrats will be eventually extension of that. It's not about bureaucrats.
Yes, of course, there will be. bureaucrats sometimes become part of the political system.
Of course, not sometimes. Today, I
So
think it's a rule.
he will have lesser problem
Because
with
you'll
them.
also have bureaucrats who you appoint
Yeah.
a context and who will listen to you. I mean, who you like. That's a whole
I
point.
think that he will be able to manage that reasonably well, but he will have a lot of difficulty in managing his own flock.
But why would he need to do that? He can just be a dictator. They will just listen to him if they won on his power, which we've seen it that many times.
Yeah.
So that I don't think is a problem at all. Because elected representatives will rarely have that. They're busy fighting some other battle, which has nothing to do with the people.
We will have to see. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. But my question is, I'm asking you as a personality question.
What is the question?
No, my question is nothing but if, like, lot of times you hear right from N.T. Ramarao's time, they seem to take some sudden decisions without really, because at that point of time, either it appealed to him or he thinks it will appeal to the people to hear it. But there will be a long-term consequence to it, which can be very dangerous and hurting to the economy or to whatever. But will he go by that impulse or an instinct more, or he will kind of think about it and ask people for their advices and then take
He will do a combination of both. There will be many impulsive things that he will do also. He's a combination of the two. And you will never be able to say, on you meaning nobody will be able to say clearly when he will be impulsive and when he will take a considered and a well discussed decision. He can be very impulsive. He is actually very impulsive in some things. He wouldn't like anybody to know what he is planning, what he is thinking. So he could be very sudden. He could do that.
Yeah. So before he lost the election, in terms of when I would refuse to believe that he was not shocked out of his skull when he lost the election in such a major way. Yeah. So after that, what do you think he would have mainly attributed the loss of the election, irrespective of whatever he says outside?
I know it. We discussed it. The part that I can share with you is that he was shocked. He didn't like it. He thought that the people betrayed him by not voting for him because what more should I do kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
I just want to push
he was
this.
not happy at all.
I want to push this a little more. This is one of the strangest things I feel. In fact, it's very relevant now because he is openly saying, he's blaming the voters for not...
he blamed them also.
Yeah. So isn't this like saying, if cinema flop and audience tapu daniki deeniki
అది కూడా అన్నాడు.
That's what I'm saying. Because that is a sign of taking it for granted. The very fact I've come and said that my intention is to be this, that should be taken for granted and everybody should do it. Like the way we'll get an opening weekend collections. That is what he expected. This is the first time probably he's filmed, his film, if politics also is a film in a way. He would think that. That's my question. Only that kind of person will equate that.
I agree with you.
Yeah. So, ఇప్పుడు ఆడియన్స్ తప్పు నా సినిమా చూడకపోవటం
అట్లాగే
ఓటర్స్ తప్పు. సో అదే కాంటెక్స్ట్లో నా థియరీ ఏంటంటే దిస్ కంప్లీట్లీ యాజ్ అన్ అబ్జర్వర్ ఫ్రమ్ అవుట్ సైడ్ అండ్ అండర్స్టాండింగ్ సైకాలజీ, నాట్ ఐ డోంట్ నో పవన్ సైకాలజీ. ఇప్పుడు తనకున్న పెన్ స్టేట్ ఆఫ్ మైండ్లో there could be some people like Nadenla Manohar and gang who will demoralize him as per their political motivations. మీకు అంత సీన్ లేదండి అండ్ సీట్లు రావు, మీరు ఒక్కరే వెళ్ళి చేయొద్దు అని మాటికి చెప్తా ఉంటే ఎనీబడి విల్ స్టార్ట్ డెవలపింగ్. అండ్ ఎస్పెషల్లీ స్టార్స్ ఆర్ వెరీ సెన్సిటివ్, సూపర్ స్టార్స్, బికాస్ their egos are so fragile, it can break any second. That's one part. Second part is, he would also like to believe that people are regretting that they voted for Jagan.
He would like such a regret to happen. No?
Fine. But he would, adi meer namakapothe, there are two things which are telling me. One is aggressiveness against YS Jagan is one. Asla national chestunadu ante adi ఎంతో కొంత ఓటర్స్ ఫీల్ అవుతున్నారని నమ్మకపోతే అంత గట్టిగా చెప్పలేరు కదా. ఓటర్స్ అలా ఫీల్ అవుతున్నారని పక్కన వాళ్ళు చెప్తారు. See, every man no matter how big you are influenced by not more than 4 to 5 people around you. And మీరు మా ప్రైమ్ మినిస్టర్ అవ్వండి, చీఫ్ మినిస్టర్ అవ్వండి, సూపర్ స్టార్ అవ్వండి, ఎవరైనా అవ్వచ్చు. యూనో those 5 people usually are the guys who know. నాకు ఒక పర్టికులర్ పర్సన్, నేను పేరు చెప్పను, పవన్ కళ్యాణ్ చాలా క్లోజ్ పర్సన్.
ప్రస్తుతమా
ఫర్గెటింగ్ ద టైం పీరియడ్. నేను నువ్వన్నా చెప్పొచ్చు కదా అని అడిగాను. నాకు తెలుసు అతను. అంటే అతను ఏమన్నాడంటే, నేను చెప్పట్లేదు కనుకే నేను క్లోజ్గా ఉన్నా అన్నాడు.
Because he doesn't like the truth.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. సో అప్పుడు ఆ కాంటెక్స్ట్లో ఇవాళ ఉన్న పవన్ మైండ్ స్టేట్లో జగన్ మీద ప్రజల్లో చాలామందికి, మెజారిటీకి ద్వేషం ఉంది అని నమ్మకపోతే అంత అగ్రెసివ్గా మాట్లాడలేడు. బికాస్ ఈస్ టాకింగ్ టు ద పీపుల్. దేర్ ఈస్ హిస్ ఫ్యాన్ బేస్ అండ్ దేర్ ఈస్ ద జనసేన పాయింట్. ఆల్ దీస్ పీపుల్ జగన్ వ్యతిరేకం విపరీతంగా ఉంది అన్నప్పుడు ఛాన్స్ ఎవరికి ఉంటుంది? నెక్స్ట్ స్టార్ అంటే ఇప్పుడు ఉన్న దాంట్లో. కానీ ఒకటి నాకు అర్థమైందంటే, ఐ వాంట్ యువర్ ఒపీనియన్ ఆన్ దట్. నాకు ఓటు వేయలేరు, నేను మిమ్మల్ని నమ్మను, ఒక పాయింట్. రెండో పాయింట్, అలా మన దగ్గర లేకపోతే సీఎం ఎలా అడుగుతాం? అసలు సీఎం పదవి నాకు ఇవ్వాలి అని అడగటానికి మన దగ్గర అసలు రైట్ లేదు. ఎందుకంటే నాకు మీరు ఓటేసి నన్ను గెలిపించలేదు. సో ఐ డోంట్ హ్యావ్ ద రైట్ టు ఆస్క్. దట్స్ వాట్ ఈస్ సేయింగ్. In the history of politics, I don't believe anybody said that. Going to the election. అది ఐ కెన్ అండర్స్టాండ్ ఇంటర్నల్లీ. మీరు ఆఫీస్లో కూర్చుని కొంతమంది చెప్తే, పబ్లిక్ మీటింగ్లో చెప్పడం అనేది ఐ వాజ్ షాక్డ్. ఐ జెన్యూన్లీ లైక్ పవన్ కళ్యాణ్. ఓకే, నాట్ ఫర్ ఎనీథింగ్ ఎల్స్. ఐ లైక్ ఎనీబడి హూ షోస్ అండ్ ట్రెమెండస్, అండ్ హీ లుక్స్ గుడ్. He looks like, I always call him a black mamba, the coiled snake, and just chuck goes on. First time I felt he's just a body language when he spoke about this party. He's weak. I never saw him. అందుకని నాకు చాలా స్ట్రాంగ్ ఫీలింగ్, ఈ నాదెండ్ల మనోహర్ లాంటి వాళ్ళు కూర్చొని డిమారలైజ్ చేస్తున్నారు.
పాసిబుల్ బట్
ఇప్పుడు మీకు ఒక ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఇస్తాను మీకు. ఒక one guy is a Naxalite. PWG split అయిపోయింది. గణపతి took over and కొండపల్లి సీతారామయ్య was ousted. And he had a lot of disagreements with గణపతి సీతారామయ్య. సో ఈ సీతారామయ్య దగ్గర వాళ్ళు కూర్చుని, వన్ ఆఫ్ హిస్ గైస్ రాత్రిపూట కాళ్ళు నొక్కుతూ ఉంటే he was telling, ఎవరు సీతారామయ్య, ఆ గణపతి ఇది వర్కౌట్ అవ్వదు, అది మళ్ళీ మనకే వస్తుంది, తెలుసుకుంటారు అందరూ తన నిజం అది ఇది అని చెప్తా ఉంటే, ఇతను అనంట, సరే గణపతి వర్కౌట్ అవుతుంది నాకు తెలియదండి, కానీ మీరు మాత్రం ఇంక వెనక్కి రారు, మీకు అంత సీన్ లేదు అని చెప్పాడు. యూనో, సో దిస్ గై టోల్డ్ మీ ఆఫ్టర్ దట్ నైట్ హీ వాజ్ నెవర్ ద సేమ్. Demoralized. So demoralization can be done by one person also in a right vulnerable moment.
With one or two sentences.
True. Yeah. సో ఇప్పుడు నేను ఒక టైలర్ చూపించాను అనుకోండి, మీరు అసలు రియాక్ట్ అవ్వలేదు, అప్పుడు నాకు పోతుంది కదా. నాకు ఐఎమ్ లుకింగ్ ఫర్ యువర్ ఎక్సైట్మెంట్ అండ్ యువర్ ఎంకరేజ్మెంట్ అండ్ యువర్ ట్రైంగ్ టు బూస్ట్ అప్ మై థింగ్. ద మూమెంట్ యూ రియాక్ట్ ఆపోజిట్, ఐ లూజ్ ఇట్. You know,
you start doubting yourself.
You start doubting yourself. But the point ఏంటి, in politics communication is important, not expression. Right now Pawan Kalyan is only expressing most of the time. You know, one is getting carried away. A front line లో పని లేని బ్యాచ్ ఉంటారు, ఏమన్నా ఇప్పుడు తాట తీస్తా చంపేస్తా అంటే వాళ్ళ డైలాగ్ రియాక్ట్ అవుతున్నారు. They don't even know who is talking about and why. Neither the reason, not the person. మీరు ఎవరైనా బయటికి లాగా అడగండి, ఏంటి ఎవరి గురించి మాట్లాడుతున్నాడు, ఏం చేశాడు, ఎందుకు ఇలా అంటున్నావు అంటే అది చెప్పడం. అండ్ పవన్ కళ్యాణ్ హ్యాస్ హోర్డ్స్ ఆఫ్ ఫ్యాన్స్ అండ్ దే ఆర్ నాట్ ద గైస్. ఫ్రంట్ లైన్లో మీటింగ్లకు వచ్చి అరిసేవాళ్ళు, దే కాన్స్టిట్యూట్ ఎ వెరీ స్మాల్ పర్సెంట్ ఆఫ్ పవన్ కళ్యాణ్ ఫ్యాన్స్. ద పీపుల్ ఎట్ హోమ్ వాచింగ్ టీవీ, ఈజ్ సెండింగ్ ఎ వెరీ రాంగ్ సిగ్నల్ టు దెమ్. కానీ మీకు ఆప్టిక్ అనేది ఇంపార్టెంట్ కాబట్టి పాలిటిక్స్ లో యూ గెట్ క్యారీడ్ అవే.
It is strange why he is speaking that way, but it could also be that he is demoralized by somebody around him.
ఎందుకంటే మీరు మీటింగ్లో అలాంటివి చూస్తారు, తర్వాత ఇంటికి వెళ్ళి ముగ్గురు నలుగురితో ఉన్నప్పుడు వాళ్ళంతా అరుస్తారు బ్యాచ్, వాళ్ళ దగ్గర ఓట్లు లేవు, కరోనా కొడుకులు వాళ్ళందరూ. దాని తర్వాత అన్నీ అరిశారు కదా, ఏం వేశారు, వాళ్ళని చూసి మాత్రం మీరు ఏమైనా కొంచెం మెల్ల వాయిస్లో చెప్పారు అనుకోండి, భయం వేస్తుంది. And then I don't know why, if anybody said it outwardly, I didn't hear it so much, and he's blindly constantly talking about Nadarla Manohar Nante. So his habit, he will trust Raju Raviteja. He will trust that guy who I talked about, that person I forgot. And a lot of people I know who he trusts time to time around him also, and was suddenly gone. You know? But that's a typical thing of a superstar. They do that many times, with the exception of a few people. Changing the topic, one thing, ఇప్పుడు పవన్ యాజ్ అ హ్యాబిట్ ఆఫ్ స్పీచ్ సీరియస్గా వేస్తా సడన్గా నవ్వుతాడు మధ్యలో. యూనో, దాని గురించి నేను ఒక అనాలిసిస్ ఇచ్చాను. దిస్ ఈజ్ యాక్చువల్లీ ఎ ట్రైట్ ఇన్ మెనీ స్టార్స్. యూనో, వాళ్ళు ఏంటంటే డైలాగ్ చెప్పినప్పుడు సెట్లో సీరియస్ డైలాగ్, they're acting out anger or whatever, and when they feel that they did it such a good job, they suddenly laugh out of relief, and it's almost like tapping their own back, patting their own back. Yeah. So that he forgets when he is on the, so a serious dialogue non-stop cheppesi, he will suddenly laugh, because that for him in his mind it's a set.
He's being the star all the time.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying, and which also is a good part. Good part in the sense that is the reason what he became a kind of a confidence. So camera ముందు ఉన్నప్పుడు, so he's when shootings జరుగుతున్నప్పుడు there are a lot of people will be watching the shoot, either on a set or outdoor or whatever. So the facing the crowd is not a new thing for him. Just because it's a political speech, that doesn't mean anything. Eventually he is performing, and there the people are there watching. Now the interesting thing for me on a psychology, you can choose to react or not, or I'm just talking. Common sense tells me the kind of crowds he draws, nobody can draw. Not CBN, not Lokesh, not anybody else. After the humiliating defeat of CBN, of course, Pawan Kalyan also lost. That's fine. ఇవాళ రోజున జగన్కి, బికాజ్ జగన్ ఈజ్ ఇన్ ద గవర్నమెంట్, ఈజ్ అ సీఎం, సో దేర్ ఇస్ నో పాయింట్ ఇన్ టాకింగ్ అబౌట్ దట్. జగన్ని ఛాలెంజ్ చేయటంలో క్రౌడ్ పుల్లర్ అనేవాడు నంబర్ 1 ఈజ్ పవన్ కళ్యాణ్. ఓకే, డిమారలైజేషన్ ఆస్పెక్ట్ బికాజ్ హీ లాస్ట్, బట్ సిబిఎన్ ఆల్సో లాస్ట్, అండ్ సిబిఎన్ హ్యాస్ ద సో కాల్డ్ 40 years ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్. నేను ఇది చేశాను, అది చేశాను, నేను సెల్ ఫోన్ తెచ్చాను, అది తెచ్చాను, ఇది తెచ్చాను అన్నీ చెప్పిన తర్వాత కూడా పీపుల్ డిడ్ంట్ కేర్. సో టెక్నికలీ స్పీకింగ్, ఈ క్యాడర్ గీడర్ అన్ని పొలిటికల్ టర్మ్స్ పక్కన పెట్టేస్తే, యాజ్ ఆఫ్ టుడే పవన్ కళ్యాణ్ క్యాన్ డ్రా మోర్ క్రౌడ్స్ దెన్ సిబిఎన్.
Of course.
In spite of that, why would you think he's lesser than CBN at this point of time? I think he's only again coming to the demoralizing gang.
Also because crowds he can pull, but he doesn't have the organizational capacity to harness them into votes.
I mean, that's fair enough, but I'm saying adi unda leda ante ఇప్పుడు మొన్న పవన్ కళ్యాణ్, I thought it was a very stupid thing to say. He's saying రామారావు గారికి ఆ రోజు నాదెల్ల భాస్కర్ రావు ఉన్నాడు. How can you take the name of Nadella Bhaskar
Actually,
today?
He's the one who dethroned him.
Yeah. And he has a son next to him,
which is another big surprise.
And then
or
he's
maybe
talking
it is not.
now, Nadella Bhaskar గారు ఉన్నారు కాబట్టి ఎన్టీ రామారావు గారు చేయగలిగారు అంటే. ఇదే మన చిన్నప్పుడు ఇంజోడు ఆయన మంచి అడ్మినిస్ట్రేటివ్ గా, ఆల్ దిస్ నాన్ సెన్స్ మ్యాన్. There is no administration of a state depends on one man. There is a bureaucratic system, and all that. It is nothing to do with that. They're all optics eventually.
It is possible that it is the influence of Manohar Garu. It's quite possible, and it also looks very plausible also.
And I think it's very easy for Pawan Kalyan to fall prey for anybody who's near him, and there are multiple examples of that.
It's possible also he is in a vulnerable situation right now, so Yeah, he didn't win at the 2 places he contested. That is haunting him. Also.
But don't you think, because he's, like you said, he's whimsical and impulsive,
Yes.
it is possible he might again change his mind about what he said yesterday and day before yesterday
100%.
in the next 3-4 months.
He will change.
He will change.
Not it is possible. He's going to change.
He's going to change. Yeah.
Depends on how he wakes up one morning.
Yeah.
He will change.
I think he will wake up one morning and get onto the Varahi and again completely reverse the plate.
Yeah, reverse it, and everybody would forget this yesterday or day before yesterday meeting.
Yeah, yeah.
అది ఇంకా ప్రజల మెమరీలో కూడా ఉండదు. He will create another memory for them.
Yeah. He might not create another memory, but I would like to think, of course, yes, this is true since time immemorial that people have a short memory. That's okay, that's fine. You know? Because from your knowledge of him, the chances are more that he will reverse
He could completely reverse.
for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. ఆ టైం వచ్చేసరికి is still much time కదా.
Yeah.
He will reverse it. He's not a person who can be like what you have seen him.
Yeah.
That's not his natural self.
Yeah.
So he's under some kind of a cloud. And when the cloud passes, he will come back to us.
See, eventually, I think, very simplistically put, he's driven by emotion much more than rationality. That's the point.
His emotions
driven
dominate.
by what he feels at that moment. That is what emotional drive.
He has a predominance of these emotions.
Having said all that, I would still like to believe that the context of when the distance is about, depending on when the election comes, the role reversal can happen 3 to 4 times, not necessarily just once. Because from day for yesterday itself, again there was a change as far as the CM role is concerned.
And then what you said, to accentuate what you just said, is that you cannot believe completely what he says or take it as, okay, now he is going to stick to this. No.
Yeah.
He can surprise you in a very good way or a nasty way later.
Yeah.
He could go down, he could go up and all that. This volatility makes him...
And I'll make one statement about him. You just tell me if you agree with it or not. That's all. No?
Okay.
I honestly believe that he's a very honest guy, meaning he believes in that when he says it. He might not have believed it half an hour before or half an hour later. That is the hallmark of a person who is driven by emotion, because all of us, when we are thinking, at some point of time, you feel this is right, and if you have the opportunity, you just say it out. And then something else occurs.
That's what is impulsive.
Yeah. Correct.
So I agree with that, he's impulsive.
Yeah. Like there are 2 things I disagree, irrespective of whatever the opponents of Pawan Kalyan say. I find, and also I will tell you the reason why I think he's honest. His ego won't permit him to lie. See, to an extent, I would like to believe no one can be really honest, especially when there are 1,000 eyes constantly with different agendas are looking at you. For your decisions of how it will impact them. This is not possible for you to be 100% honest.
It is true, but when he is speaking to masses, or a political speech, adi veru when he is interacting with you one-on-one, or when you're working on a project together behind closed doors, that's a different thing.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, that's
so
what I'm saying. Yeah.
What you said about he being honest and not lying and those things, it can pertain only to certain situations in his life. Otherwise, it's quite capable to camouflage or say something which he doesn't mean at all.
But also, being a film star, a film star's position is impossible for them to. In the name of being honest, you have to really be rude, really be merciless and all that. No one wants to do that when you're interacting with so many people.
So he has to guard his
correct.
image. Kada?
Yeah.
And he's quite aware of that. And he's very clever in the way he projects himself. Clever not in a bad sense. He knows what he's doing. So your assessment that he may change what all he said a couple of days back is quite true. He can come back with an exact opposite thesis and present it again to them.
Yeah.
And when he sees a bigger crowd, as you said,
yeah,
he's looking for encouragement from the crowd or something, and then he may change it completely.
I believe that his immediate coterie who's around him, his biggest enemies, I'm saying, the immediate people around him, whoever he chooses to talk to and listen to their advice or whatever.
He thinks the same
And
way.
then those frontline Janasena fans who are in the first 5 rows of his public meetings, they will be his demise, his political demise. I mean,
He understands that.
I just wish he could see beyond them. There's a much larger crowd, not just the 4-5 lakh people in the large meeting which come. I think that's where his Achilles heel is.
True. Maybe you could advise him, or you should.
The only time, I once in a while keep bumping into him at a hotel in an elevator or something. The first time I genuinely called and I really talked very high about his first launch speech of Janasena. I really admired that. I called him and I spoke to him for a long time.
He told me on that.
Yeah.
He told me that he spoke with you.
Yeah. But I wasn't too happy with the Vizag thing.
వైజాగ్ కాదు ఇది లాంచ్ అప్పుడు
మాట్లాడాను బట్ ఆ తర్వాత అయింది కదా వైజాగ్లో. వైజాగ్ అక్కడ అయింది ఇంకొక స్పీచ్,
బుక్ లాంచ్ వైజాగ్ సెకండ్.
That I wasn't too, but the first speech was awesome. Absolutely,
He was,
and because see, the point is him being an actor, his understanding of using the voice and to throw and pitch the emotion was so perfect, and it was so new at that time.
It's also beginner's luck because as a leader you are not tested yet. On March 14th, 2014.
And I genuinely felt Chiranjeevi was overdoing the nice guy and diplomatic thing. And I expected, and I could see that he's somewhere in the back, not too happy about the things going on. So I really expected a lot from the first launch speech.
After that.
Yeah.
But it didn't come out the way it was planned. It all went downhill from there.
Yeah.
The focus is too much on himself. Yes, he is the reason why the party started, or he is the founder of it, and all that is true. But then after that, he needs to build up the organization around him in order for him to ascend to some kind of political power. He remains famous as he was on March 14, 2014. 2023, his fame has not decreased because he knows how to guard that, but he doesn't know how to make a political party. That's where he's failing.
Well, as a end point, I'd just like to say this, that there's one thing I will immensely disagree with you, that he's a well-read person, point one. So let's leave it at that, because you talked enough of that. And if you try to convince me that he will understand lines like existential nihilism, please give me a break. Please give me a break. You're his friend, you travel, and I think this beautiful line in Gandhi, when Gandhi says about the British, we've come a long way with them, so let's see them as friends. I just love that line, because then the whole purpose of a relationship goes for a toss. If you make it nasty, though the breakup could have been bad, that's not the point. But I think at least if you don't remember the good times, then the whole purpose of the relationship, the time you spend has gone for a waste. So you would rather stick to that and not go to the other side. Yeah. On that note,
Thanks.
That's how we talk. Yeah.